Retired U.S. Air Force General Blaine Holt and former Trump National Security Counsel Fred Fleitz. General, I saw this speech and I was floored.
Okay, so who votes best Carl monologue ever? It
wasn't me, it was JD, man.
The thing here is 1776 kids lecture 1984 kids, and it could not have been better, and they had it coming, because how many times have we been lectured in Europe about Western values? And the Western values we don't share, and they need to get that through their heads, that freedom of speech is worth fighting for. They talk about these democracies. They're worth fighting for if they're going to be, in fact, democracies. Mm-hmm. But what the three letters I didn't hear in the speech, and maybe he used them, was the WEF, the World Economic Forum, and the globalists and the elitists and those who breathe the rare oxygen and tell us about climate change and why we can't warm ourselves with coal and why we can't drive a gas-powered car. And what he's really saying is, guys, go to your historical perspective. We've done this before in Europe. If you go down this path, and if you erase liberties, you're going to have a place where the wars and the violence continue, they span out of control, and you're going to come back to us, and then you'll want the leadership. Yeah. So why not work together, nip it in the bud, let's put our alliances back together, and let's redefine what Western values are.
And Fred, listen to what JD Vance had to say, though, because as the good general just said, they are excluding people that they don't agree with. Roll this.
Which, of course, brings us back to Munich, where the organizers of this very conference have banned lawmakers representing populist parties on both the left and the right from participating in these conversations.
Makes his point, Fred.
He's exactly right, and I knew he hit the nail on the head because I did 3 interviews with British TV today, and I've never seen hosts angrier. And the fact is that JD Vance is talking about what they do not want talked about, how free speech rights really are under fire. And I reminded these hosts that there are police in the UK that are going through social media looking for ways to prosecute people. You may remember that when Biden first went to Europe, French President Macron welcome him to the European club. Well, President Trump does not want to be a member of the liberal globalist European club. He thinks this club is a threat to global security, and we saw that today. America is going to defend its interests, global interests, and it's not going to be run or directed by this globalist club in Europe or by the United Nations.
Yeah, well, General, the other thing, too, is Putin and Zelensky are both watching this saying, like, wow, this is not going to turn out the way I would have hoped it would have turned out. I mean, the Ukraine conflict, Trump is basically wrapping this thing up. He's getting them to the table in 3 weeks.
Yep. He's binding them all together, and it's American leadership and President Trump's leadership that's leading the way here. He has found the leverage he needs in Moscow. He's found the leverage he needs in Kiev. He's found the leverage he needs through this elegant speech that our vice president, that we're all so proud of, made today. And he's going to bring them all to, look, they all have needs of each other. They need to be aligned. The pieces are there to off-ramp and end this war and to keep it from becoming far worse than it is. And so I think what we're going to see in the coming days is nobody's going to like how this goes in any of these factions, but we're going to end the war because we've thrown money and weapons at this, but now it's high time and past due time for diplomacy and strategy.
So, Fred.
Can I add a quick point?
Go ahead.
Europe is demanding a seat at the table for peace talks with Russia and Ukraine. A terrible, terrible idea. And you can see that from the response to J.D. Vance's speech and Secretary Hegseth's speech. If we put the liberal European Union at the table, that's already attacking Trump's solutions to the war, we're not going to get a solution. So I think Trump is exactly right with the team he puts together to end this, but we need to keep the European Union off the table for these.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.